Thank you, Leland. Well, that failed mission to rescue hostages, including James Foley, happening about a month ago, but just made public after Foley's execution. The question is, why release that information now? Joining us is the CEO of Concerned Veterans for America and Fox News contributor, Mr. Pete Hegseth. Thanks for being with us, Pete.
Thanks
Good to see you this morning. Why release this information now?
Well, it's very clear why they released it now. They wanted to show that they made a proactive attempt to free Foley. And setting aside whether they're releasing classified information, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad we did what we could to free him. I'm glad we didn't pay $100 million or a ransom for this. That's good to hear. At the same time, this is a classified operation that shouldn't come out for, dozens of years. I mean, these are the types of things that are buried state secrets that come out later. And this is a pattern we've seen with this administration. When they're politically under the gun or they're taking criticism, that's when it's time to leak something. Even if they never would have done it, or if somebody else had leaked it, they'd be in a lot of trouble.
But Pete, it was a failed mission. Is it smart to release that information? Because does that embolden us to our enemies?
Well, you know what? I'll be honest. As someone you have failed missions, you have successful missions. I mean, these guys went out there based on the intelligence they had to try to find their captors. The fact that they didn't get them, that might embolden, but it also sends a signal. Hey, you hold our people, whether you're in Syria or Iraq, we're coming after you. And I hope as we read between the lines of the president's speech yesterday, it shows that we still have it in us to go after them if we need to.
Educate people like me who have seen maybe too many movies. I think when there's a hostage, we should be able to go in and find them and get them easily, or maybe not easily, but I feel like we've got intel. Am I completely wrong?
It all depends on the intel. And I think in this particular case, maybe they were a day late, 2 days late. That intelligence. Maybe they were misled slightly. Clearly they came upon ISIS fighters and killed a few in the process and had a second target, so maybe they gained intelligence at the first that led them to the second. That's how these things happen. It's all based on time-sensitive information and intel. In this case, they didn't get it right, but they're doing everything they can.
All right, let's hear from the president. This was what he said yesterday about ISIS. He said that history will take care of ISIS. Take a listen.
And people like this ultimately fail. They fail because the future is won by those who build and not destroy. And the world is shaped by people like Jim Foley and the overwhelming majority of humanity who are appalled by those who killed him.
Well, what do you think about that? Many are appalled that the White House didn't do more to rescue these prisoners or these people that are being held captive.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I wish he'd made a stronger statement across the board. He did talk about justice, but it was very muted, wasn't passionate, and ultimately we need to look to Iraq in the next 2 days and see what kind of kinetic activity builds there. He talks about the future, they will inevitably fail, the future doesn't. Well, that depends on how we oppose them, how we stand up to them. And I think we need to make very clear and public statements. Secretary of State John Kerry made a very strong statement about the need to crush and defeat ISIS. That's the kind of rhetoric ISIS needs to hear. Not read between the lines. We know you're not real Muslims. We know Muslims are peaceful. We got that. We know that. The point is we've got killers beheading people, journalists, innocent civilians. We need to go after them, find them, and kill them. That's what the president needs to say. Could have said more forcefully. So the future does not belong to ISIS. It better belong to us because there's no one else out there to lead the way.
Many people are going to be watching to see if there will be any action taken by the White House.
Watch the action and see, and that's how this should be judged.
Pete Hegseth, good to see you this morning. Heather, over to you.